My name is Marianne, and I've just turned 50. I live in a small town called Willow Grove, Maine, where in winter, the snow blankets everything so thickly it's as if it's trying to erase any trace of life. My house is an old, two-story shack on the outskirts, with dim windows and doors that creak with the slightest breeze. I moved back here 5 years ago, after my mother passed away from cancer. She left me this house, and I thought it was a chance to start over, far from bustling Boston, where I worked as an accountant in an office that smelled of coffee and disappointment. But now I realize that the past doesn't hide, it waits, like a shadow in the corner of a room. It all started with little things. I can't sleep at night. I lie in bed staring at the cracked ceiling that looks like veins on old skin and listen to the silence. The silence in this house isn't empty, it whispers. At first, I thought it was the wind in the chimney or mice in the walls, but then memories began to appear. They came in my dreams like old photographs fading in the sun. When I was 8, I saw him for the first time. A boy. Thin, with a pale face and hair that stuck up as if after a rainstorm. He stood in the hallway on the second floor, by the door to my room. He didn't speak, just watched. His eyes were dark, like wells, and they didn't reflect the light from the lamp. I screamed, and my mother ran in, but he was gone. She said it was my imagination, that I watched too many horror movies on TV, but I knew it wasn't. He appeared a few more times in the basement, where my mother stored jars of pickles, or by the kitchen window. Always silent, always with the same expression, sad but hungry. Then, when I grew up and went to college, the memories faded. I got married, got divorced, worked, lived a normal life. I thought they were just childhood fantasies. But now in this house, everything has returned. The first time I saw him was 2 months ago. It was night, and I woke up thirsty and went to the kitchen. The moon shone through the curtains, making everything silver. He stood by the sink with his back to me. The same boy, not a day older. I froze, my heart pounding as if it wanted to break free. "Who are you?" I whispered. He slowly turned, and his eyes, they were mine. The same gray, with a small mole in the corner. I blinked, and he was gone. A puddle of water was left on the floor, as if someone hadn't turned off the tap. Since then, I haven't been able to live in peace. I started writing everything down in a diary to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. My mother suffered from dementia in her last years. Maybe it's hereditary. I went to see a doctor in the next town, old Dr. Green, who had known me since childhood. He prescribed anxiety pills and said, "Mary, you're working too hard. This house is full of memories. Maybe you should sell it." But I can't. It's all I have left. Memories of my childhood became obsessive. I remember playing in the garden behind the house where wild apple trees grew. There was an old well there covered with boards. Once I heard a whisper from it. "Mary, Mary," a voice like a child's called. I didn't go near it because I was scared. Now I wonder, was that the boy? Maybe he drowned there a long time ago, and his spirit remained. But that's absurd. I don't believe in ghosts. I'm a realist. Maybe my subconscious is playing tricks on me? After the divorce, I was depressed and taking antidepressants. Could it be a side effect? Last week it got worse. I woke up to a noise in the basement. I went down with a flashlight because the electricity in the house is old and often goes out. The door was ajar, although I always close it. Inside, it smelled of damp earth and something metallic, like blood. He was sitting on an old chest. "Why did you come back?" I asked, trying to sound firm. He raised his head, and this time he smiled. It twisted his face, as if he didn't know how or wasn't used to smiling. "I've always been here," he whispered. The voice was quiet, but clear, like an echo in an empty room. I stepped back and the flashlight slipped to the floor. When I picked it up, the boy was gone. But on the chest was an old knife, the one I used to cut apples with as a child. It was covered in rust, but a fresh scratch was visible on the blade. I started looking for answers. I rummaged through my mother's things in the attic. I found old photo albums. In one photo, dated 1980, I'm standing by the well holding hands with a boy. He looks like the ghost. But I don't remember having a brother. My mother always said I was an only child. Maybe he was a neighbor's boy. I called my Aunt Rose, the only relative I have left. She lives in Portland. "Mary, don't dig up the past," she said sharply. "Your mother didn't want to talk about it." "Talk about what?" She hung up the phone. Now I don't know what's real anymore. Last night I saw him again. He stood by my bed, staring at me. His hand touched mine, cold as ice. He said, "Remember." I screamed and woke up, and there was a wet spot on the sheet, as if from a hand. I can't sleep anymore. I drink coffee, walk around the house with the lights on. The town seems even smaller. The neighbors look at me strangely when I go to the store. "You look tired, Mary," Mrs. Johnson says at the counter. I nod, but I'm thinking, what if they see him too? What if he's not a ghost, but someone real hiding in the house? Today, I decided to check the well. I went out into the garden where the melting snow had made the ground slippery. The boards covering the well were pushed aside. I leaned over and shone my phone's flashlight down. Below, in the darkness, something glinted. Water? No, eyes. He was looking at me from below. "You killed me," the voice whispered. I recoiled, falling into the mud. When I got up, the well was covered, just as it always was. But in my pocket was that knife, with blood on the blade. I can't take it anymore. Maybe it's schizophrenia? I read about it. Hallucinations, paranoia. Tomorrow I'll go to a psychiatrist in Boston, but first I need to sleep. I took 2 pills and lay down. In my dream, I saw my childhood, me and the boy playing by the well. He's my twin brother, Tommy. My mother hid him because he was sick, mentally disabled. One day, I pushed him into the well by accident during a fight over a toy. He drowned. My mother covered it up, told the police he ran away. She never spoke about it again and made me forget. Maybe it was hypnosis. But now the truth is coming out. I woke up to a knock at the door. The police. "Miss Ann, we got a call from your aunt. She's worried." I invited them inside. They looked around the house, found nothing. "Everything okay?" one asked. I nodded, but my heart was sinking. When they left, I went down to the basement. There on the chest was my mother's diary. I opened it. Mary killed Tommy. I hid his body in the well. She doesn't remember, but if she does? I started to cry. This is the reality. I'm a murderer. The ghost is my guilt. But then something unexpected happened. When I went back upstairs, I didn't see myself in the mirror. The face was a boy's, with the same eyes. "You're not Mary," a voice whispered in my head. "You're Tommy. You drowned. And your sister died of grief. You've been living her life, imagining you're her. In reality, your house has been empty for 30 years. I touch the mirror. It dissolves like fog. Outside the window are the ruins of the town, abandoned houses. I'm a ghost, and I always have been. It was Mary who disappeared, and I remained, playing in her memories. Now I understand. Reality is an illusion I created so not to be alone. But then who is writing these lines?